There we are. And I didn't get caught out this time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second instalment of Monday Live with Proper Football. I hope you're all well. Just a reminder to everyone, I'll tell you what, I'll do that reminder in a bit, give a bit more time for people to jump on. So before we do that, let's quickly jump around the table and we'll come to our guest last. But Nigel, we obviously had a good day at Saturday, which we're going to be talking quite a bit about. But how you been other than that? Good day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a great weekend actually. I enjoyed the day out on Saturday. Had a busy one at the Grapes on Saturday night, and had a catch up with one of my old mates on Sunday. So yeah, good weekend.
Oh, brilliant. Tom,
top pies as well, by the way.
So
we've got to give the pies a mention.
Mate, Matt, what did I tell you about the pies, mate? Everyone's really buzzing about it. We're going to have to get this butcher's on a worldwide net. It's the best pie in the world. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a bit as well. Mate, we haven't seen you for a couple of weeks because we didn't have a show last week. But how are you, Tom?
I'm good. Thank you. Very good, mate. 3 points for us boys over the weekend. That's 3 wins out of the last 4. Yeah, making a bit of a habit of it now, aren't we? Famous last words.
Very good result.
Man.
Coming on to our guest. Sorry, go on.
Can I just say, I'm enjoying the ponytails again, mate. They're looking good on you.
Yeah, you like them, don't you? Look at that. Bit of the old Pat Butcher going on.
Oh, dear. Coming to Matt.
Well, I can move like this or I can move like that. You know what I mean?
So, our guest joining us is Matt. Matt is I'm going to get it right, the Community Engagement Officer.
That's the one.
At LEEK Town, who really set up our day out on Saturday, which we're going to talk a lot more about. But welcome on board, Matt. It's great to have you with us. So how you been and how you keeping?
All good, mate. All good. Appreciate you boys letting me come and chat with you tonight. I'm glad you enjoyed the day. The pies always go down a treat here. I don't know if you know of the Facebook page / influencer Dad Loves Food.
Okay.
He's a Stockton Town fan, and he came down earlier in the season and he did a big review on his Dad Loves Food site just about the pies. People love them, and like I say, it's just a local butcher.
Oh, nice, weren't they, mate? I mean, we're at football, and all we do is talk about pies.
You know, they were good though. I mean, I'm not a great lover of pies, but proper pucker, wasn't it?
Pure steak in that pie. It was absolutely wonderful. No, I'm sure we're going to be banging on about them pies for a long time to come, I think. Any Grand Oppers watching tonight, trust me, go Grand Opping at LEEK Town because you will enjoy the steak pies. They are truly amazing. Okay, so while we've got a few more now on, let me remind you all you can get involved, and we want you to get involved. So if you want to fire over any questions, comments on anything we're discussing, or if there's anything you would like us to discuss, just drop it on as a comment in whichever platform you're watching on, and hopefully we'll pick that up and get you involved. So get involved because it's about you as much as it is anyone else. So yeah, get involved and drop us a hello even. And the first one on. Oh, we met this gentleman. I think you must know him, Matt. A gentleman who does blimey, another outtake going on here. Staffordshire Sports Broadcast. We met him at the ground on Saturday, actually.
Yeah, I think that's Mark. So Mark does the Staffordshire Sports Podcast, but he's a LEEK Town fan. So obviously there's a lot about LEEK in there, and he does reviews on the games and things like that. So he's got a podcast out that they've just currently done, which is a review of the game that you guys come to, actually. It's well worth a listen.
Yeah, no, I think on the discussions we had with him, he actually it's an audio podcast on Spotify. So if you want to pop up the link on the comments for where people can find you on Spotify and have a listen to your podcast, then drop the link on and we will share it. Absolutely will. And I know Dan, one who was with us Saturday, he's listened in already and said, yeah, sounds pretty good. He says you might need a bit of a language warning before, but then who loves a bit of bad language. Anyway, okay, moving along. Where do we start? Let's start with our trip Saturday night. Yeah, we had a great little trip, Matt, and I've got the first big shout out has to be to Georgina, the one of your directors at the club. Proper looks after us in a big way. So massive shout out if she's watching.
She is when we talk about non-league football clubs and sort of the lifeblood and the beating heart. She's a director. She doesn't get paid for anything that she does at the club.
No, all voluntary. Yeah.
Like through thick and thin, rain, snow, thunder, everything in between. She's die-hard, LEEK Town, and her husband Kev as well, home and away every game. I think her husband Kev's only missed 2 games in about 5 seasons or something like that.
No, I'll tell you what we're going to quickly do. Hopefully everyone at LEEK Town will love this. So our article will be out Thursday, everyone, on our trip to LEEK Town against Guiseley, which was a 2-2 draw. We've got some fantastic interviews about all elements of the club, not just about that specific game. We spoke to the youth team coaches and stuff like that as well. Our article will be out 7 o'clock on Thursday. So keep an eye out for that. But for now, I'm just going to give you all a bit of an insight into the facilities or the stadium, shall we say, at LEEK Town. And we put this together as part of our article. I'm going to give you a little insight into what we were looking at. And then I might play the funny bits where we did things a bit wrong Saturday, eh? Let's have a look. Anyway, check this out. There you go. Thought we had to get the little Wembley bit in for you, you know?
Yeah,
that was LEEK Town. And what a lovely little stadium, mate. You've got to be proud of that stadium, haven't you?
Yeah, everyone associated with the football club. We are a community-based football club. LEEK is almost a little parish in between Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire. And the football club really does sort of make a difference in the community, and people are really proud of what we do, especially in the dizzy heights of the Northern Premier League, Premier Division at the moment.
And how many pubs? Now, this is something else to remember. You might not be able to get a train there, but if you can get there without driving, I think there's about 18 pubs in a very small area, isn't there?
Yeah, in and around LEEK, all the way leading down to the ground. You could probably do a decent pub crawl before kick-off at 3.
Yeah, I don't know whether Dan tried that or not, because they came up on the train. I don't know. Did he say whether he'd been in a few, Nigel? I don't think he did he? He had to get
No, I don't. I think they were running a bit tight coming up, weren't they?
Yeah, because they jumped, him and a couple of his mates came up, and they had to jump on a train. But yeah, no, it's brilliant. But I've got to just show one more thing about this, and this is really funny because I don't know if you can quite hear it. We put an outtake piece together on some of the mistakes. So this was us, our little team on the day, messing it up. Don't. Right, okay. Okay, so it's finished 2-2 now. No.
Yeah, I've got a camera. Oh, fuck.
Right, okay.
No, what time are you on later night?
It's 2-2.
Leek Town.
I was in there for the last 5 minutes.
Oh, shit. Fucking, that's what I said in the car, wasn't it?
No, right, okay.
Still 2-2. Right. Cheers, Russ. Have a key ring and a t-shirt.
Right, okay. Ready?
Yeah. Sorry.
Right, so it's finished 2-2. Yes, on. I'll start again. I trim it. Yeah. It's okay. Can we have makeup back, please?
Yeah.
Makeup. If you
got a mince over
mince it, yeah. That's going to be.
Just be normal.
That's going to be an outtake on our thing now.
Go on this way. Good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I'm here with Andy, who's a Guiseley fan. Travelled a fair old poke today to come up here to Leek. So obviously, talking about this league and the national. Our girl started again, mate.
I'll
tell you what, Nige. I wish you put the score in. I wish you put the score into the league and give us a 2-1 win.
Oh, no, you know, the two bits in it that really tickle me. First one is Nigel, right? So I just had a mental block and I went, no, because I just blocked out. And Nigel just turned around and went, oh, was it 2-2?
Do you know what? Do you know what the other funny thing that happened that day was? Just before we was doing that, I was going to go live on Facebook for a few minutes, and I've actually accidentally pressed the go live button. So there was a video of me saying absolutely nothing for about 20 seconds, and it's now racked up 8,500 views. 8,500 views.
The other bit.
Rumour has it, Nige, that you were getting another pie, last 5 minutes.
No, Garrett, all the pies.
I would have done an all, mate. They were that nice. But anyway.
You had a sausage roll with it, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No. I let the other fella have that. I didn't. No. One fella, I don't know the name now, but, mate, I think he was doing a food thing because he'd had a steak pie. I think he'd had a steak and potato pie. He had a burger. He had a sausage roll. So I don't know whether he's a reviewer, but anyway, the other really funny bit that on that little clip we just shown, it was Greg at the end, and you could see real early doors that he'd lost it straight away, you know, and that just tickled me pink that thing because I could see he'd lost it before he lost it, you know, and it's funny, yeah, no, it's really funny, but no, there's some fantastic material. For our article, and so yeah, look out for that on Thursday. Okay, let's I'll tell you what, let's talk Man United. And the reason I want to talk Man United is they've announced today a further up to 200 redundancies. Matt was telling me that they've announced that they because I think they've got a cup semi-final at Wembley, and normally the employees get a free coach. They've got to pay for their own coaches now, and they'd already stopped them. They would go to the club and they would get a meal and all that as part of their daily routine, and now they've got to pay for their meals as well. I mean, obviously I'm not a fan of the Premier League, as everyone knows. I can't get my head around this. How many staff have Man United got, I wonder? I can't get my head around how anyone can get rid of they can't have tens of thousands, surely. Or, 450, that's a major percentage of their staffing, surely. Surely they weren't that badly run, were they? That they could get rid of 400 odd staff. I'd love to know what their head count is, actually. But I guess the one thing for me is that, you know, he's saying, we're losing money, you know, year on year, and we're losing it. Well, take a look at how much you pay football players, mate. I'm not being funny, but, you know, I know you know, it's like, take a look, mate, wobble your head. There's one reason why you're losing money like every other Premier club, because you pay these players too much flaming money.
Well, you'd think the captain of the side, you know, captain, I think is it Fernandez, is captain? You know, if they know this was going on.
Yes, he's been offering to pay.
He's tried. That was the article that I read. He's offered to pay for the travel and accommodation, and the club have rejected it. It's madness.
It is madness.
Didn't they reject he wanted to pay their bonuses that got blocked? You know, there was about £40 or £50 bonus or something. And he
do you know what, though?
You're not getting it now.
Just that's top bloke there, because that's just shown that not all footballers are greedy and they don't want to give anything back, you know. So it just proves to everyone that it's the hierarchy that are, you know, doing this. The footballers are wanting to give back a little bit. So fair play to him.
Yes,
because they have got. I mean, they have got this.
Not all players are bad, and I think we've already.
I was going to say that they've got a bad reputation. You know, Prem players. Everybody thinks they're getting too much money, and they probably are. But you know, at least that just shows you that they are thinking about other people at the club.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see some of them are. I know not all are, but then you get good and bad in everything. So. But I honestly, Tom, I mean, you come from a businessy site working. I can't understand how any company could be that badly run to have that much meat cut out of it, you know? I mean, I've heard people defending it saying, oh, yeah, but the football budget, like Simon Jordan, oh, yeah, football budget's that's a totally different thing. Well, no, it's one company with one budget, regardless of whatever way you look at it. You know, a lorry driver at Tesco's is still part of the same budget as the till lady or as the director. It's one company, one budget. You know,
I'm not sure if it is. I'm not sure if it is. I don't know too much about the financial workings of a top level football club. But I'm not sure it is one budget. I think the point that was made there.
Yeah, but it's got to be one company.
But you go into any world. You take football away. You go into the corporate world, corporate businesses, and you look at it from that perspective, which is what Manchester United is, by the way. It's a corporate business. There are separate budgets with separate departments, separate pots of money.
No, I appreciate the budgets within a company, but the bottom line is always going to be what it is for a company.
Yes and no. Because there'll be different people managing those different pots, different people managing those different budgets, and they will all have a target. They will all have something to work within. They will all have a remit. So if somebody's presented in something to the top boys, whether it's Jim Ratcliffe, whoever sits at the top of Ineos or whatever, and they've demonstrated that they can make a cost saving year on year, he's not going to be worried about where that comes from. He's certainly not going to.
Sorry, I'm maybe not explaining myself. I'm saying that Manchester United is a Manchester United. At the end of the day, if they're saying they're losing £350 million a year, that encompasses the whole company.
Yeah, no.
You see what I mean?
I see what you mean.
In departmental budgeting and all that, I get that. But you know, that income, that £350 million a year loss, which quite frankly is probably every Premier League club. Or most are losing that sort of money anyway.
Yeah, but they have to do that. Yeah, but Gary, they have to do that in order to compete with one another, because the bar has been set so high in terms of what they have to pay players, especially if you want good players. There are a lot of poor players on big money as well. I think Nigel's referenced it in the past. You go back to sort of Nigel's heyday. There are players playing now that are not fit to lace the likes of Callie's boots that are on considerably more money. Don't get me wrong, that is a separate subject and a wider picture. In terms of what you're looking at Manchester United, they will look, where can we cut? Can you sit down with a Casemiro or a Bruno Fernandes or a Rasmus Højlund or any of them players and say, look, we're going to take X amount of money from you? No, you can't, because they're locked into a contract with Manchester United just as much as Manchester United are locked into a contract with them. So what they have to do.
I hear that, but what I'm saying is, when he turns around to me or to the world and says, we're going to get rid of all our staff, we're going to not allow them to do this, we're not going to allow them to do that, because we're losing all that money, and not even a reflection on the reason you're losing all that money is because of the way football has allowed the wage structure of these prima donnas to get completely out of control.
But that mistake,
it's like,
that mistake has already been made. It's not about whose fault it is. That mistake and that level of money in football, that precedent has already been set. You're not going to change that narrative. And that narrative is going to remain the same as long as.
No, I'm not going to change.
Me neither. And we'll get there in a minute. We'll get to my feelings. We'll get to my feelings on it in a minute. But what I want to do is obviously what I want to do is put the facts there, and then I'll tell you my feelings on it. The fact of the matter is that precedence, as I say, has been set. That is never going to change. That is never going to change.
I think the caveat of all this is the 450 staff are likely 90% from in and around Old Trafford, in and around the stadium. Probably been Manchester United fans the whole lives, the granddads, the great-granddads, probably have family represent the club at some time.
Yeah, more than likely. And we've touched on it before. They're not the target. Those people, and me, yourself, Callie, Gary, we're not the target market anymore. Those people that are from the local area, the livestock of that club, lived and breathed it all their life, talk with a Manc accent. They're not the target market anymore. So this for me is just another example of your traditional football fan, your traditional football employee being pushed out.
I'm just wondering why Fernandez is not allowed to do that. I mean, that's sort of like telling somebody that what they can do with the money and what they can't do with it.
But it comes back to, again, the point that I just made. They don't want those people around the club. The type of people that Matt mentioned, they don't want them around the club. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they don't want any people that can't spend £200 every time they turn.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
for these people, they don't.
What I'm saying is, what authority is somebody you got to tell someone like Bruno Fernandes what he can spend his money on and what he can't? Why can't he just lay on the coach himself?
It's probably the fact that the club have utilised them 450 tickets to people who are high budget clients.
Yeah, customers. I understand that. I'm just saying it just seems like they're telling a player what he can spend his money on and what he can't.
Oh, I would imagine they will, mate. I guess they got them so wrapped up in contracts that they can dictate what they want.
I can't see them doing that.
Well, yeah. What's the punishment if he decides to lay on and does it anyway? What's the punishment?
He's the club captain, isn't he?
Yeah. No. And listen, opinion-wise,
it's nice to see. It's nice to see one of these prima donnas with a.
Like I say, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It's an absolute disgrace. It's a complete and utter disgrace. We all know that. Top level football. I've said it on previous podcasts. Top level football is gone, and this is just another clear example. But the key point here is it doesn't matter who puts the bill or whose money's going where. They do not want these people around the club, and this is a clear and concise demonstration of that. You can't take that away. It's clear.
I never thought of that. I genuinely didn't think of that, to be honest. I know they don't want the supporters like traditional there. They want the tourists who spend the money. I know that. But yeah, it's interesting concept that is it they just want to clear out old school and bring in. Yeah, I don't know. Is it all about saving
It's not
money?
about money. This is not. Don't get me wrong. This is going to demonstrate for them a cost saving. 100%. This will be a cost saver. But that's not the key. That's not the key driver behind this for me. It is as I said, as I've just mentioned, it is the type of individual. They don't want your Barbaras that's been there 45, 50 years working on reception, and your Deirdre's in the cafe. That have known people. I'm sorry if anybody's called Deirdre watching. Sorry about that. If anybody's wife's called Deirdre or Byra, my apologies. But they don't want this type of individual that have been there 45, 50 years, that know the place inside out. It is a new regime, and it is headed by people like Jim Ratcliffe. I won't call him Sir because I don't think he's worthy of that title. People like him, you Sheikh Mansour, your Glazers that are still in Manchester, your Henrys that are at Liverpool. They don't understand the concept. They don't understand the traditions. And quite frankly, they don't give a rat's arse about it. And they are demonstrating that each and every time they make one of these decisions. It is so clear it is so clear there is a new regime in town, and that is only going to increase. It's only going to get worse, and it's only going to drop further down the pyramid as well.
I think we've all been
they're everywhere
now on it. Absolutely brilliant, mate. Well put. Really was. Matt, have you got any thoughts on it before I get us off this bloody subject?
Football's a working class game. It has been since its inception, and you're tearing the game away from the working class. You're going to have stadiums full of tourists taking pictures and spending hundreds, if not thousands, in the club shop. But what's right for some is wrong for others. This is where, especially here at clubs like LEEK Town, our two big clubs, if you will, our two league clubs, Port Vale and Stoke, and we're getting fans come down in the dozens to watch LEEK Town because they're getting disillusioned with football, even in the Championship and League Two. So it's right down the ladder.
Absolutely.
And like you say, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul in some instances in football clubs.
Yeah. A really interesting post that FC Manchester put out, obviously in your league, aren't they? And
FC United and Manchester.
FC United, yeah, that's it. So they put out a really interesting post. They've actually put out a post, actually giving a breakdown of the ticket price for an adult at Manchester United of £60 and what they can get at FC for that same £66. And it's just a family of four with food, with drink, and a programme for the price of an adult ticket.
Them FC United of Manchester fans, give them a shout out on here because they came down to our place earlier in the season, probably 500 or 600 strong, and they were loud, noisy, supported the club, brought beers and drinks to support another non-league club. Fantastic support.
Yeah, I think as well that I think as well that they have a terrific atmosphere.
I would imagine so, based on their away following.
I've seen some footage. I think there was we had a guy contact us and he gave us a breakdown to say, and this isn't all about Man United, by the way. People who might be listening thinking, hang on, why are you picking on Man United? But we're not. It's just that they're the ones in the headline. They're all as bad as each other. It's just that at the moment they're doing what they're doing. But yeah, and the guy contacted us and he had a choice of him and his two lads going to Manchester United, which he could get a ticket, which because they're a bit more readily available at the minute. Not so many
but
glory.
No glory, is there, for a start?
And it was 130. It was going to cost them £132 just for the tickets, or something like that. And he then worked out that he took instead to the Macclesfield game. Macclesfield in town, Manchester, which so you can imagine the sort of atmosphere that went on there. And he said he got in the ground with his kids, programs, something to eat, and he got them both a scarf for the same money.
The problem with that, Gaz, the problem with that is when you look at price comparisons from one level, Premier League, obviously to further down the pyramid. The first thing that you're compromising on, according to the modern football fan, is the quality. The way that not for me. Let me just put it out there, right? But the way that the modern football fan consumes football now, and consumers are key because they are consumers, not fans anymore. They're consumers. The way that they take that in now is not the way that it's been done traditionally. And that's why the TV deals are into the billions, because there is a market, because people want to sit at home and watch 3-4 games of football on a Saturday and then the same on a Sunday. I've always been of the opinion personally that football takes place at 3:00 on a Saturday, and then you have a midweek game, whether that be European competition or domestic cup competition.
No, I get I get that psyche completely, but obviously for a family man who maybe don't have a lot of money, what he's saying is he can take his kids and have a great experience, a much better atmosphere than he'd get at Old Trafford.
And he's right. It's absolutely. I saw it. I saw it. It was fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
This is the difference between a football traditionalist and a modern day supporter. It's about the whole day. It ain't just about 3 o'clock till 4:45. It's about the whole experience. And Nigel, you can typify that quite easily for me. Hang on a minute, mate. Hello, what's going on here? Oh, there you are. In that, one of the things on Saturday, me and Nigel were chatting, and he said the really lovely. Well, Nigel, your experience about the ambience, wasn't it?
It was just nice to be able to go into the bar, have a drink, and then the match starts, and you can take your drink outside. You can have a pie while the match is going on. You don't feel that there's going to be any trouble or anything like that. And so you relaxed. Whereas when you go to the big games and the big stadiums, you've got to eat in a designated area or drink in that area, and sometimes you miss the first 10 minutes of the second half or something like that. But it was just nice and relaxed, and looking at that video you done earlier on, I bet there's guys stay in the same part of the stadium for every match they come to, isn't it? Like stand in the same part. They're not bothered whether it's really busy there, but they'll go and stand in what they think's their part of the stadium, I suppose.
Absolutely,
yeah, it was good.
We've got one of our stands, the far end. If you buy the dugouts, which you guys you will have seen, that's the Grace Street stand.
Yeah.
And we've got a selection of fans that will stand in a certain area every single home game, and they're aptly named the Grace Street Posse. And that's what they do. They come to the games. They go to the pubs in town before they get to the game. They go and stand in the same place because that's their comfort zone.
Their bit, yeah. Do you know the stand you're talking about? As you go down, there's like a little section of open air terracing. There's a little group all stood on that as well.
It is. I'm at pretty much every home game apart from this one, obviously. And me and my father-in-law, who's a director of the football club as well. We've got a group of us, and we all stand in the same spot every single game without fail. And it's just like you say, you get your pint, you get your burger, you come out 3 o'clock, and you've got footy web pages on your phone, seeing how all the teams in and around us are getting on. Not a single person's checking the Premier League scores or the Championship scores, and it's just good community football. And like Tom said, there are football people out there who will say, "Well, you're paying for the quality at the higher end." But these non-league football clubs like LEEK Town, we play to our level, and we very much know what our level is, and the players are signed on contracts to play at that level. And like Ali's just said there, the atmosphere is great. You don't feel unsafe. There's no sort of threatening behaviour going on. People can have a drink in the stands, but no one's sort of dragging themselves around drunk. It's just, for me, you can't beat non-league.
It was really nice.
The guy we spoke to before the match said he would have been happy with a point. That's obviously you're in a bit of a hard season, aren't you? And I don't know what the wage structure is down there, or how you go about getting new players. But I did say, Gary, do you think the reason why they're struggling a little bit this season is because a greater part of your squad have sort of reached the maximal level? That there's no more improvement left in them. Is that
there's always going to be a hint of that in non-league, because, like you say, the wage budgets are completely different. You're going to have a couple of players who are the top earners at the club, and then you work your way around that. One problem we've had, we got promoted last season after 3 or 4 years of being in the playoffs, and there was 1 year when Macclesfield won the league and we come second. So, but then we've come up to this division and we lose 8 or 9 players who got us promoted. The two centre forwards scored 70 plus goals between them last year, and how do you replace that amount of goals? They both went on to stay in step 4, if you will, with another local team, and we we had a relatively poor start to the season, and then we went on a 10-game run, sort of start of December till back end of January, where we were the third informed team in the division behind Macclesfield and Worksop, and we dug ourselves out of a hole which we're now fighting to stay out of, and we've got 10 absolute cup finals in front of us.
Yeah, we'll certainly be keeping a close eye. Let me just mention some of the people that are on. And remember, folks, you can get involved. Although we're running desperate out of time, we're not going to talk about Real Bedford today. We'll maybe do that next week, because I do want to just talk into what Matt does and the role he's got at the club. I'd be interested just to dig into that a little bit more. But just Terry's on, Terry Tuner. Terry's the Elton John man, isn't he?
Club legend.
Hello,
Nige.
Hello, Terry.
There you go. Terry, mate, listen, I'm going to be really honest with you, right? Please don't take it the wrong way. I'm sure you won't. I'm sure you'll be proud of it. When you told me you was an Elton John fan on Saturday, I actually thought, my God, you look like Elton John. You seriously, man. And please take his compliment. Honestly, you really do resemble Elton John, mate. So I got to say, I thought, wow, but yeah, nice guy, really nice guy. And he actually, when we did our opening live video, we do a live stream at the beginning of every one. He actually did it for us. Terry did. He filmed it for us. So
Terry's
really good of him.
Terry does all the match highlights from our games. So he stands up in the stadium, videos the whole game, pieces together the highlights.
Okay.
So,
okay. I'll need to be in touch with Terry at some point then, because I've got some ideas for next season that I want to try and get some of the clubs to buy into. So yeah, I'll see if he's whether you guys are up for it. There you go. Terry's saying, Callie Watford legend. Hey. Right, listen, Matt, I am really intrigued. What does a community engagement officer? What is your role? Because I am really big into the fact that non-league clubs are such a part of the community, which is overlooked by the higher echelons within the game.
It's so massively varied, and I've been a lifelong football fan since I can remember, from following Stoke City and obviously dropping down into the non-league, and became a fan of LEEK Town before I could have ever imagined working for the club. And it's one of them things, you get the offer and you think, I could work for a football club, and it's sort of mull it over with where my career was at the time and things like that. And I just sort of think, do you know what? I'd love it. And imagine being paid to do something you love to do. And it's a mixture of everything. The roles that varied. It's like usually tonight, and you guys have given me a night off from being outside in the cold. But we've got currently outside the doors, just in front of me, there's 100 kids taking part in community coaching activities. We do that on a Monday evening and a Saturday morning. Last week we ran our holiday club. So we had 40 kids every single day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, who turned up to play football all day. Like you say, community club. One of our first team players, Alex Hurst, who you will have seen playing on Saturday, just two or three seasons ago. He was playing at Wembley for Port Vale in the League One playoff finals. He now plays for LEEK Town. He was the head coach of the holiday club. We're going out into schools, delivering sessions in schools. We've just signed up for the FA Comets provision, which is essentially pan disability. So we've hired a coach who's going to come in and deliver those kind of sessions. We run over 65s football sessions. We run walking football sessions. We do a community lunch club, which tends to be sort of the over 65s come in once a month and have lunch, 3-course meal provided. The scope of the role is massive, and there's so much more that we're just scratching the surface of as well.
I've already said to you, I'm working on a piece, and it's something I think Tom might better help with as well, because Tom's Tom's our anchor man, really. He's there to anchor us and keep us on the ground and bring in our reality checks, bless him. But he's very good with words. And I am going to, like I said to you earlier, Matt, before we went live, I'm working on doing quite a lot of work on the importance of non-league football within a community, because the more clubs we visit, the more, just listening to you there, it blows you away. And I don't know whether you agree with me in the role you've got, where you're reaching out to the community and almost you're replacing things like youth clubs. You're keeping the kids off the streets. You're keeping them from joining the gangs. You're keeping them from stabbing each other.
There's none anymore. You can't find a community club anymore.
You can't find a youth
I'm laughing.
club
I've just
for love
seen
nor money.
the comment from JP talk about the college academy and the 23 junior teams.
Yeah. I've got Ian Cook's just come on, who's the chairman at Nuneaton Town as well. So good evening, Ian. Thanks for joining us. But would you agree that we hear about the distribution of money within football isn't maybe right, and if would you agree with my thoughts or not? That I believe that including not just the higher echelons of football, but also maybe government, do not truly understand the importance of the non-league clubs within their local communities.
So our chairman has just done a bit of research. We've been given access to something that very few clubs have been given access to. It's a bit of a soft rollout, if you will, but it helps us to calculate in monetary value our contribution to the community. And with everything I've just discussed there, and looking at JP's comment about the college academy that we've just started this year and all of the junior teams, this figure is going to be a little bit off because I can't remember it off the top of my head. But we're over £1 million in what essentially is community contribution that we as a football club put back into the community in monetary value for those things that we do.
Wow. Fantastic.
Nige,
phenomenal.
Phenomenal, this is a real eye-opener, isn't it? I'm beginning to see it. I mean, like I said, we've got Ian on, who's the chairman at Nuneaton Town, who are obviously rebuilding after the disaster of their previous ownerships. Nige, when you hear these things...
Yeah, it's brilliant. But it sort of takes me back to my early days at Watford with Graham Taylor. We was the first club to have a family enclosure where the families could sit without being in fear of anything happening around them. We went out into the community and done things. We took part in the pancake races, in the town centre. And Graham Taylor was all about the footballers and the supporters joining as one, and that's how it was with us back in the day. So what you're all doing at the moment, Matt, it's brilliant. That's what a lot of clubs should be doing, that sort of thing, giving it back and getting everyone on your side. And I think that's the only way you can do it the way you've done it. And, fair play to you. Hold my hands up.
No, appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've got a bit, whether I'm going on some level, some sort of crusade about this, but, proper football gives us a platform to shout about things a little bit, and this is one of the things I want us as proper football to crusade a little bit, if that's the right word, and really open eyes. I mean, you've opened I already was an open book on this, and what you've just told me has opened my eyes even further.
And the thing
I think it's sad.
The thing is, I am one of 3, I believe, people who were on a paid contract with the club, apart from the players. Most of the rest of the guys that do stuff here are volunteers. Look at, like I say, JP with the comment about the junior teams. He's a volunteer. He manages a junior team, and he does all of the sort of admin that comes with that, along with Georgina, who you met on Saturday. All of them unpaid voluntary hours of registering players, checking coaches for DBS and safeguarding and putting people through the relevant courses and texting all the referees on it. That's 23 plus teams where we have to text all the referees. We have to make sure all the pitches are ready. and it's all volunteer hours that go into it.
Oh, the volunteers are amazing people, and they're not getting enough. We interviewed Georgina, and because we try and talk to volunteers, and Tom, you did a great interview with the volunteer down at Nuneaton, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a good piece, yeah.
And I just look, I hope that we as proper football can be a bigger platform to really push this on and try and open eyes to realise. And I'm not just on about you hear the argument all the time about the distribution of money. It's not just about a football match on a Saturday. It's so not just about that, It's so about you're replacing youth clubs. If you weren't there, potentially there's 500 kids that would have nothing to do. Either they're going to go out and be naughty, they're going to go out and stab each other, or they're going to sit all day sitting on an Xbox and not learning how to interact. Do you look back, Nigel, on your career, the wonderful career that you've had? At the end of the day, the youngsters today are going to not have the same opportunities that you had as a player, I don't think.
No, it's changed completely back to the way it was when I played, and but yeah, it's hard to put into context what's the way it works now as to the way it worked back in the day. But I know that we probably more than any other club in the 4 leagues under Graham Taylor, when he decided to get the football supporters of part of the football team. And everybody at the club knew each other. The cleaning lady, the person who made the tea, the kit man, and even when we had the parties at Elton John's house before the season started, everyone was invited. It weren't just the players, wives, girlfriends, directors. It was everybody that worked at the club, including the tea lady, including the kit man. It was everybody, and that's the way it was always going to be at Watford. And the same way as the family enclosure was behind the. We didn't have a dugout; it was just 2 benches that they used to sit on.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Graham,
it was the old, wasn't it like what you used to get in the old gym?
Yeah,
benches, wasn't it?
When it rained, they got wet as well as all the supporters, and we did. The thing he done, Graham Taylor, was he'd go into the crowd. And he'd ask a guy whether he wanted to come and sit on the bench and experience the game from the bench. Obviously, there'd be a bit of swearing on the bench, so it had to be an adult guy. But that's the way it was. And what you're doing now is a modern version of what we was doing back in my day. So
like you say, the efforts of non-league clubs like LEEK Town, like Nuneaton, like Sutton United. There's another example. We were at Sutton United, and they were telling us, 50 sides they run over men, women, children, walking, football, stuff like that. And I was talking to you earlier, wasn't I, Matt? And if you actually calculate that, that's probably over 1,000 people in that community that have got something. It's not just about the football, is it? Especially for the youngsters. You're teaching them how to be part of a team. You're giving them ambition. You're giving them a sense of achievement. You're giving, they're not sat on a bloody Xbox and not mixing with other children. They're if they're not playing football, we're running out of time desperately. We could carry this on and on because one of the other big key factors is the 3G pitches, which I wasn't a fan of, and now I am. Because I realised the financial benefits and the fact what it can bring to the community by having that facility. Again, that's going to be part of what I'm working on as well. But I'm just going to stop this quickly there. So Ian has just put up their Nuneaton Town on Central News tonight and won the goal of the weekend for their 100th goal. Just by coincidence...
Thank you, Ian. What a goal.
You've set me up nicely, mate. Here we are. And this is that very goal. Aaron Williams.
That little touch on the end.
What a goal, eh?
Quality.
Step 6 football. Aaron Williams is a goal scorer there. So, yeah, well done, Aaron. What a cracking... And the build-up play, fantastic. Great advert for the football. Just while because we're going to have to wrap it up pretty quick. I've just got to show you this clip as well. So these are the stewards preparing for the Burnley-Sheffield Wednesday game at Turf Moor. They're warming up, I think.
Not sure what that's all about.
No, sure. They were doing. Oh, mate. If I was a steward at Burnley, mate, I'd still be there for the next game. I'm at a bit of a loss because this conversation could go on, and we could really get to the bottom of a lot of stuff. I'm going to have a little long, hard think about how we can deal with this even further, and maybe even bring Ian on with us as well, and bring a couple of people from other clubs on and talk about it. But somewhere there's got to be a reality check on the importance of non-league. And what frightens me is probably the lack of regulation within the non-league pyramid. How easy it is to own a club. How many clubs have had rogue owners? They're not protected enough. These clubs belong to their community. They don't belong to anyone else. They don't belong to some rich American that's going to sit over the dining table in Los Angeles, and instead of saying and bragging about his new Ferrari, he's going to be bragging about I own an English football side, because that seems to be what's trending at the minute. Let's have a trophy club, and that worries me as well. And that would have led me into the real Edford situation, but we've simply run out of time. What I'm going to do now is hand over for anything you guys want to bring up. Matt, would you be happy to come on again?
Yeah, 100%. Loved it. Really enjoyed myself. Like I say, appreciate everything you guys have done this weekend to bring LEEK to the forefront.
Pleasure, and we're looking forward to putting out the article, because I know it'll be a cracker. Ian will tell you the what we did at Nuneaton. That really helped them out, actually, I think, in trying to put off the not the haters, but the people knocking them because of the previous ownership models, but they're now owned by the fans. Very conscious that you've got to go as well, Matt. But yeah, we'll be talking soon. Nigel, anything quickly you'd like to bring up?
No, just like I said at the start of the show, I've had a great weekend. It was nice getting out to see a different ground from the pro grounds, and we got treated really well there. And overall, it's been a great weekend.
No, fantastic. Yeah. Tom, anything you'd like to add to any of this?
No, nothing major from me.
It's shocking, though, isn't it, Tom? I feel, listening to what Matt does, and I know this for many of the clubs, and what they bring to a community, and it's
the key element with that for me was, Callie mentioned, obviously in the good old days, if you like, the Graham Taylors of the world, that was happening right at the top level.
Yeah, it was.
And whilst your top clubs, your Arsenals, your Man Uniteds, whatever, they have got their academies. There's gain in it for them. They develop these players to come and perform and be within the club. Don't get me wrong, they safeguard them and they develop them as players, also as individuals. But the difference is what LEEK Town do to that, for example, and other clubs, obviously, at that level. They're just giving back, and they're not taking anything. They're not taking anything away from it. They just love giving to the community, for no gain of their own, other than the good of their people. And that is the difference between the top level. That at the top level, there has to be something in it for them. At the level of your league towns, that's level of the pyramid. There doesn't have to be something in it for them. They're just doing it because they love it. And that, for me, is what it's all about.
And also, I think the other issue we have with maybe top flight football clubs now is it's not just players into their academy from this country. They bring them in from all over the world, which limits the amount of scope for homegrown players, you know. But yeah,
that's Matt, the way of the world. Everybody's entitled to the same opportunity for me, regardless of where you're coming from. Everybody's entitled to that opportunity. So
I know that
it's not one for me. That personally.
Well, yes and no. I mean, at the end of the day, your homegrown talent, if it's affected by the fact that they want to bring someone in from Brazil, that's one less English lad getting an opportunity. Like back in Nigel's day, it would have been 95, if not almost 99%. Local talent getting an opportunity, whereas now that probably less than 50%, you know, because the influx, you know, and these.
I see it. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. These youngsters would get opportunity in their own country, you know, because they're bringing them in from South America where football.
That's probably where the opportunity would be there. But you go to your South American countries, you Brazils of this world, or Chile and all places like that, for example, the opportunities are considerably less there. That's why footballers come to England. That's why people come to England, because the opportunity is there. And you look at your favelas. It is what it is. But you look at your favelas and Brazil, they're a lot more deprived than anywhere in England.
Again,
if somebody comes from there and they've got an opportunity, I can't have an issue with that.
Thing is, though, we'll go back to this one word: agent. These agents, they spot the youngsters abroad. There's money in it for them, so that's how it all happens, really.
Matt, I'm going to leave you to finish us off, mate.
Me?
Yeah, cool. What's the ambition?
I kind of sit on the fence with that one. I get what Tom's saying. I completely
I do understand.
The opportunity over here is always going to, and the Premier League is going to be the pinnacle for any thriving potential footballer out there. But I can agree with you, Gary, where back in Kelly's day.
No, pick a side. Pick a side.
No,
I would.
Don't you come over here and try and be the devil's advocate, man.
I would love to see more homegrown English talent in the Premier League and the Championship. Of course, I would. It'd do wonders for our national team, and wonders for local areas. I'll leave you with a bit of a fact. I think it's a fact. You'll have to fact check me. Last Saturday just gone was the first time in something like 20 or 30 years where Liverpool did not name an English player. The first time.
That is a fact.
And you look at Liverpool's history of Gerrard, Carragher, Trent Alexander-Arnold, the list goes on.
He's our anchor man, isn't he? He is. No, that's a fact, mate.
It is. He's right.
He's talking about Liverpool. He's talking about Liverpool with the Everton sign over his head.
Oh, Tom, I love you. And that. In some ways, we've had this discussion, haven't we, Nigel? So when Nigel played, it was 95%, if not more, even English players playing in the top flight. That's probably now down to less than even 20%, I would imagine. If you look at a Premier League Saturday, there are very few sides that have many English players in them anymore. But does that in any way sort of make its way down? Is that why maybe we're seeing a better level of football, a better standard of football in the lower leagues, in the non-league? Because when Nigel was a youngster, all the youngsters that were any good would have been up in the top flight, not anymore. So they've got to ply their trade lower down. Is there a knock-on effect that standard of non-league football, lower league football is better now than maybe what it was 30 years ago because the English lads are not getting that opportunity? Maybe. I don't know.
Potential argument for it.
There absolutely is. Yeah.
Matt, listen, we'll have you back on. We're going to talk as well, and that about the whole aspect of this. That's brilliant. Thanks so much for Saturday. Thank everyone at LEEK Town. A wonderful club. Any Grand Operas, definitely go there and definitely have a steak pie. Matt, don't go anywhere. Stay there for a second. Everybody, as always, thank you for watching, joining in. It's really appreciated. It's about you as much as it is anyone else. We'll hopefully see you again next week. Dan's down at Andover for their FA Vars game on Saturday, so catch him there. Tom, when's your next one? Is it Wellingborough?
No, my next one is the 15th of March, Colville.
Oh, I'm going that one with you. Yeah, Colville. Yeah, it is. Yeah. My next one is Colton Town on the 8th of March. Then we're at Colville, and then I'm at Merthyr Town with
I might come to Carlton with you, to be fair, because I missed out on that one last time.
Yeah, they'd be happy to. They're brilliant up there. Nigel's been there. He loved it, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's because they all knew who he was.
Yeah. Oh, man. Anyway, that's it. Thank you, everyone. Look, as always, please be safe. Enjoy yourselves. Any football you're going to, don't matter what level, enjoy it and hope your team wins. Until then, we'll see you all hopefully next week. Will it be a Monday or Sunday? I'm not sure. Just keep an eye out on our platforms. We'll see how we go. Until then, goodbye.